Greetings, greetings. Hello, beautiful butterflies and perfect people. Welcome to Tanesia's Locs, Beauty Tips and Potpourri. I hope everybody is doing well today. I'm so happy to be here. I'm happy to be with y'all all the time. When I do a video, I just love it. Shout out to all of the beautiful kindred spirits. Y'all know who you are. Shout out to all of y'all who contact me directly. Whether you're ordering or you're asking me something, which I don't like to talk about unless I'm talking about it on the channel. Y'all know I don't like to give one-on-one personal advice. But I do want to say thank y'all to all of y'all for the channel growth, for the success of the I Am Melanin Magic, the hair oil, the anti-aging serum, the acne serum, and the magical growth serum. Thank you to all of you. Today, I wanted to talk about the best ways to care for your sister locks. I've had these locks now going on 10 years, I think it is, and you learn a lot along the way, and you wish that you did things differently when you come to the knowledge of what works best for you. Now, the things that I'm going to be sharing with you today are the things that work best for me. They might not work best for you. Oil is not for everyone. My hair needed oil. My loctician consultant put it in when she installed my locks. And I was that by the book person sitting up there thinking, okay, I just spent $750 on these things. They say you're not supposed to use oil. Is it really okay to put the oil in there? Yes, Joker, it's okay to put the oil in. I've only been doing natural hair now for 20 years. I'm glad that I listened. But my hair needed oil anyway. The reason why I'm just bringing that up as an example is you got to do what your hair needs. You can't listen to me. You can't listen to Mr. Charlie. You can't listen to Rashida girl. You have to do what works for your hair. Now, if you resonate with me, y'all already know a lot about my philosophy with hair, whether you have locks or relaxer or wearing a wig or anything else, and that is listen to your intuition. You know what's best for your hair. Just because you have a new style doesn't mean that your hair fundamentally has changed. It still needs the same thing. If you needed oil before you got your sister locks, doggone it, you're gonna probably need oil after you get your sister locks. Not for them to survive, but for them to look their best and for you to feel your best. Whether it's oil or the frequency with which you wash your hair or anything else. Very little will change, although you may experience some change. So this video is really based on my experiences. And so keep that in mind when you determine whether or not something I'm saying makes sense to you, because it's not going to make sense to you, not all of it. First and foremost, might as well get into the oil. The best way to care for your locks, to me, is to fortify them. What are you fortifying them against? You're fortifying them against not only the elements and the multiple times that you wash with water that is not adequately mineralized and alkaline and fresh running water. You are protecting your hair against the styling stress of pulling on your locks. Some of you see I pulled mine up today, right? Now, y'all will seldom see me do that many styles, but I'm trying to feel creative. And I had it over here last week, and I decided I want two little ponytails. But I don't style my hair that much. But any type of styling on your hair with locks is styling stress. Coloring is stressful for your hair. Believe it or not, yes, washing is stressful for your hair. But the number one most stressful thing that you're going to do to your hair every 6 to 10, 11, 12 weeks is going to be your retightening. Do not think for a second that your hair will continue to bounce back from those retightenings again and again and again, and that by the time you hit 50 like me and you've had these things for a decade, that you're not going to start experiencing some sort of collateral damage. So my idea about the locks is, while they're healthy, you fortify them, you continue to work with your hair, you continue to try to take care of it to the best of your ability, so that when you reach challenging phases of your life, whether it's getting older or the longer the length of time as you've had your locks, or maybe you just had a baby and you're experiencing the cyclical hormonal hair loss that many women who have children experience, or maybe you went through drastic weight loss and your hair is starting to come out. Your hair is fortified against those things. So putting something in your hair that will build your hair up from the inside out and that will work from the outside in is going to benefit you in the long run. Our hair cannot be subject to even something as simple as the water that comes through our faucet day in and day out with washing and continue to be healthy. We can't drink the water out of our faucet and expect to be healthy because it's not healthy. So our hair and our skin require that we do a little supplementation. So one of the best things that you can do to care for your hair is to find the right product to put in your hair, something that is all natural, that you trust, and that you have seen the evidence of it helping to strengthen, fortify, moisturize, detangle, condition, whatever it is you want to do, okay? The second best way to care for your sister locks is to understand that there is no need to overwash, that there is such a thing as overwashing. Y'all, I'm getting ready to see Fraj next week because y'all know I'm out in the boondocks now. So whenever I go to the Atlanta area, I got to take care of everything, right? I just came back yesterday from getting my massage, getting my acupuncture, taking a few face-to-face appointments with clients who really just want to see me and don't like to do the distance, or they prefer to know when I'm in town. Went to take care of that. I got to go back next week for 2 doctor's appointments, 2 routine, a physical, and some other stuff. And so I said, you know what? I'm tired of running back and forth. When I get there, as soon as I come into the Snellville area, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can feel the shift in the energy. I can see the cray-crays running around and all the traffic and all the craziness and people who won't look you in the eye, people who won't say hello. Everybody's in a rush to do nothing. So I prefer not to go there, but I also get my water from Flovilla. So on the way back yesterday, I went to the Healing Springs. I got my water from Flovilla. So I try to do everything at one time. So because I've got to go next week for my 2 doctor's appointments, I said, let me just see Fraj. This is early because I'm going in at 7 weeks. Y'all know I have not done a 7 week. I never did a 7 week in the beginning. But the truth of the matter is, I don't plan on going back there until sometime in January, and I'm not going to be able to wait till January. I'll need a retightening by then. And so my hair is really not ready, and I have not used my hair growth oil all month. So my hair is not as long as it usually is. I don't have as much new growth. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to use it every day for the next 7 days. It's going to be less than that now because we're talking about Thursday and Friday for the next 6 days. I'm going to use it every day. I'm going to use it every day. I'm going to massage my hair. Because like I'm going to pay for this retightening, I need to make it worth it, right? So anyway, making sure that you don't overwash. And y'all know I usually wash before I get my retightening. Now I'm going to wash this time because I'm going to get my retightening next week. But normally when I do my 10 or 11 week retightenings, which is usually my cycle, I wash right at that time. Unless there's a reason, I don't wash before then. Y'all, I just don't have the buildup. My hair is clean because I use my product and it's all natural. I don't get the buildup. I don't overuse the product. I don't get the buildup. I don't have the dandruff and the scalp issues that I used to have that would lay on top of my scalp. And when I would scratch my scalp, I would have this stuff in my nails. I don't have to do that. So I'm able to do that. But if you aren't able to go 7, 8, 9 weeks before washing, then wash less than what you're currently washing. Washing puts stress on the hair. Washing dries the hair out unless you're going to put your hair in the Niagara Falls. See if you can't take some of the stress of washing off. But naturally, you have to be putting something on your hair that is going to clean your scalp. You already know that the essential oils are antibacterial, they're antifungal. So they're going to help to keep your scalp clean so long as you're not suffering from some type of dermatitis or you're not overusing the oil or something else, all right? But your scalp health is just going to be in better shape. The third thing that you can do to best care for your sister locks really is to braid and band, especially if you're new to the journey. I don't care what anybody says, that's one thing, not one thing, one of many things, but it's definitely one of the things that Miss Cornwell has asked us to do with these locks that makes a tremendous difference. Go ahead and braid and band, and don't braid so tight that the water and the shampoo can't get inside the lock and really clean your hair. But do braid and band. Y'all will hear me say I braided and banded well beyond 5 years. There are times every so often, and I haven't done it now, probably going on 1.5 years, I think, maybe, where I would still braid and band. Because after I color, especially, my hair it still expands. It took my hair a long time to compress and drop for my locks to really mature. So my hair would still expand like this, and it becomes so heavy it becomes too much. But braiding and banding is just going to be one of those things that is going to do you a lot of good. It's going to maintain your hair. It's going to help to keep it healthy. It's going to result in less pulling and less stress on your hair when you wash it. The fourth thing that is something that you need to consider with regard to how you care for your locks, if you want to care for them in the best way possible, is to decrease the number of retightenings that you're getting. Now, this could be controversial, but I can't tell you the number of women that I have met, well, the number that I've heard from on this site that are well under 3 years that are losing locks, okay, because of different habits of their loctician consultants. But I cannot tell you the number of women that I've seen 7+ years with the locks whose hair has thinned out dramatically, and not just here, what you could be used to seeing with a certain patterned hair balding that you may see in women and in men, but in various areas, okay? And that has a lot to do with the quality of the retightenings. That's something major that I talk about on this channel. And I'm dead serious about it because it's the one thing that they don't talk about. The Sisterlocks brand does not talk about the retightenings, the threat of the retightenings, why you need to be starting to pay attention very early on to your retightening habits and your loctician's retightening habits, why sometimes you know better than your loctician, why you have to study and examine your hair to begin to catch thinning and to begin to catch other potential problems long before they manifest into full-scale hair loss, to the point that when you sit down with the very person who's been doing your hair for 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years, they're at a loss for why your hair has been thinning and falling out when they sit in your hair every 1.5 months and they know what's happening with your hair, and then they tell you to go see a dermatologist. I'm not going for it. Y'all know how when we've lost hair in our community, traditionally and historically, it's been because of the styling stress from braids, cornrows, and two things that were too tight that actually destroyed the hair at the cellular level, or not at the cellular level, at the follicular level. If that's a word, follicular, at the follicle level. So these are things you have to be mindful of. That should be number one. That's going to be probably your most important thing. Now, might your retightening schedule shift as you move through your journey? Possibly. I may find myself on a every 7 or 8 week retightening schedule, depending upon what I observe in my hair. And depending upon the level of satisfaction with my retightenings, and maybe even depending upon whether or not I'm going to be the one doing my retightenings. This is super important because when the retightenings happen too frequently, it's just added trauma to your hair. When the retightenings are happening too frequently and the rotations are too tight to your scalp, it's just trauma and disaster waiting to happen. When the retightenings are too tight and the rotations are too tight to your scalp, and the speed is so fast that there's not enough time taken to make sure that the hairs are not being ripped and that there's not friction being created, you're going to have catastrophic hair loss later on down the line. And if you don't catch it early enough, you may find yourself being referred by the brand, like some of the sisters have shared with me, to the trichologist program, where maybe you'll be paying $1,000 a month for someone to shampoo your hair with something in particular and to give you something that you need to take orally, which may or may not solve your problems. That's not what the issue is. Some of the issue could be genetic, some of it could be dermatological, some of it could be stress related, some of it could be medical, but a lot of it is not. And many of you who've lost your hair have mothers and sisters with full heads of hair well into their 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. So that's not the problem. The problem is the repetitive stress that is being placed on your hair from this beautiful and abundant hairstyle that we sport. And with all of the money that you're putting into your hair so that you can have a carefree, never have another bad day hairstyle, you have to make a determination that retightenings are not your friend. They are a necessity and they make you look good. Some of y'all like to see that grid, which I don't, but they are not your friend. And you need to guard yourself against excessive retightenings. And when you deal with the retightening schedule that is okay with you and that makes sense, the next thing you need to tackle is the quality of your retightenings. You have to make sure that there's enough time in between from one lock to the next where your hair is you're not feeling the pulling, you're not hearing any snapping, and it's not moving so quickly that you just hear that hair raking through there. That is causing a problem. Just like this creates heat. And if I continue doing this, I'm going to eventually have a groove or some type of burn here. It's the same thing, y'all. It's no different. So be very mindful of that. And make sure you have a loctician rapport or rapport with your loctician that allows you to bring up these concerns, okay? Efrage can be heavy-handed. There are times where I have to say to her, ouch, or that hurts. Or can you be a little more tender? I had to do that over the years many times, or at least frequently enough. But when I mention that to her, it makes a difference. She doesn't get upset. Like some of you will tell me, your loctician consultants get upset and they get an attitude with you. They don't want to hear your concerns. They don't want to hear your questions. We're paying these people, y'all, to service us, and we're invested in them. We need them to be invested in us at the same level, bar none. There's just no excuse. It's about a certain level of service that you deserve to be able to expect because of your patronage, because of the fact that you're putting your trust in someone. So that takes me to my next point, number 6. One of the best things that you can do for your Sisterlocks in terms of your hair care regimen is to have a good relationship with your loctician. And if you're at the beginning of this journey, make sure you choose the right loctician. If you're somewhere in the middle of the journey, or you've had the locks for a few years and you're not feeling your loctician, find another one. And I know we don't like to have the loctician hop, but I can tell you won't know what it is that you've had or the quality of the work that your loctician consultant has been doing unless and until you have a frame of reference. Y'all, we have some wonderful locticians out here. Some absolutely wonderful locticians. Efrage is one of them. Neka is another one. These are the two that I have dealt with over the years. The only two that have ever been in my hair, and I'm sorry they're not taking new clients, and I'm sorry about that. All y'all can do is keep trying. Efrage Suad, you can look her up in the Atlanta area, and you can try to call her. She asked me to stop mentioning too much stuff about her on my channel because she can't get to a lot of the interest and the inquiries. Okay, she just doesn't have any space for new clients in her schedule. That doesn't mean that she could not possibly maintain you, or doesn't mean that she couldn't install them and not maintain. I can't remember what she told me the last time. I think she could maybe do an install but not be able to maintain, or something like that. I just wish I could remember, y'all. I'm looking at this pretty black cat right outside. And Kismet is in Snellville, and Albie needs a friend. Albie, she loves it here, but she gets very lonely. I'm afraid she's not getting enough physical activity because she doesn't have Kismet to stalk. So developing that workable relationship and, quite honestly, the positive rapport that you need to be able to have with your loctician consultant. We have wonderful ones out here, like I told you, but we also have consultants who combine your locks and don't tell you. Some of them combine them because they think that it's medically necessary, but some of them combine them because they did it by mistake and you don't know that they've been combined. I forget who it is. Shout out to you. You know who you are. You put a comment, I think, in the last video that I did, and you mentioned how you found several locks that have been combined in your hair. And you knew that because you always check your hair after retightening, which, by the way, is a wonderful practice. Check your hair after every retightening. I love that. But she should have been told that her locks were combined. How dare you combine these locks knowing that I cannot uncombine them and not tell me about it? This is my investment. I need to know these things. If you have questions about slippage, if you're having questions about why they didn't go all the way down to the ends of your hair, and y'all have seen my video on that. Do not allow somebody to install your locks without going all the way down to the ends. Y'all know I take my ends out. I don't have to take them all out anymore, but in the beginning I used to never let them close because I liked the curly ends. But I wouldn't have been able to have these type of curly ends if they had left my hair out. The reason why my hair would do this in the beginning is because he forgot to tighten all the way down. She tightened all the way down. So don't underestimate the value of having a good rapport with your loctician when it comes down to caring for your locks. The last thing that I will tell you is, in terms of caring for your locks, one of the best things you can do is avoid color or get color before you get your locks installed. And y'all know I'm a die-hard colorer. I mean, this might be the first fall y'all ever see me without serious color. I was gonna try to turn the light on. Let me see. This is gonna be the first time ever that y'all will see me without full color. That didn't help at all, did it? Nope. It made things worse. And that's because I'm trying to give my hair a break. All right, so the residual kind of auburny, orangey color you see is what I put in my hair many years ago. This is what I had in my hair when I was doing the Vidal Sassoon Runaway Red, which actually had the developer that shifted the color of my strands, but then the color would bleed out in about maybe 4 or 5 times of washing it. Or actually, what I should say is maybe after the first or second time of washing it, because by the time I got to the end of what would be a period to get a retouch or to touch my color up, which might be 8 or 9 weeks, the color was really flat and it was turning more like this. And so then I just began using the rinses. After a couple of 3 years, I just started rinsing my hair all the time. So I say that because unless you are really doing something to fortify your hair, which is another one of the reasons why I feel like the Iron Melanin Magic Oil that you all now are able to get, that is the only oil that I use after the first year or a year and a half of this journey. One of the reasons why I feel like I was able to color like that relentlessly and not experience a lot of hair loss is because my hair was so strong, because I had been using those oils for about 5 years before I even started coloring my hair. Maybe 5-6 years, something like that, I think. So if you're going to color your hair, know that it is going to change the way your locks feel. Mine now, after rinsing over a period of, I guess, a year or two, y'all, my locks now feel more the way they used to. They feel soft, but for many years they were harder because of the color. So it's going to change the way your hair feels. It'll feel rougher. It may feel like it's scratching your face. Okay, it can make them feel a little bit stiffer. It's also going to create some drying, and many women talk about how it causes their tips to fall or their tips to unravel. So, you know, it's one of those buyer beware things. It may be something you want to test in a certain section of your hair before you go full throttle. I definitely wouldn't recommend bleaching because it's going to definitely weaken the locks. Ronnie bleached a couple of hers, and those locks eventually just sort of fell, and they became very weak. So with that level of developing and lightening of the natural strand, it's definitely going to weaken the lock. So it's okay to color if you understand that it's going to create a little bit of inconvenience for you and it's going to change your hair. But if you know that you're the type of person that before you got your locks you would color and your hair would come out, I would say don't do it. Try to find another way to bring that extra vibrancy and color to your hair without having to affect it chemically, because it does really weaken your hair. So I hope that the things that I mentioned, watching out for color, braiding and banding, developing a good relationship with your loctician, making sure you use oil or some kind of a conditioner, and then also limiting the amount of shampooing that you're doing with your hair. I hope that these things help you to understand why it's so important to shift your hair care routine and perhaps consider doing some of the things that I have mentioned to you. I hope that this video helps to shine some light on what have been my experiences and what I've learned over this long, beautiful journey, just to enrich your journey and to make it better and to keep you from having to have a do-over. Because honestly, there have been many ladies who I've talked to, y'all. I'm surprised, I'm shocked at the number of ladies who've had to have their locks redone after paying a pretty penny, having to have them redone. And you know that that is traumatizing to the hair, and it's traumatizing to the soul, to the individual who is disappointed and can't course correct what has happened and wants the locks so much that they end up having to take them down and put them back in again. That's really a difficult thing. So if I had to say what was the most important thing that I've mentioned in terms of long-term care for your sister locks, it's going to be choosing the right loctician and developing or maintaining a good working relationship with your loctician, which starts with knowing your loctician before you make the choice to choose that person. So you're with Tanisha Ali. If you have not purchased my book, Manifesting Your Masterpiece, which includes daily mindset reflections to help you up-level your life so that you can live the best life and manifest your masterpiece, you can get it on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. I hope y'all have a beautiful rest of your day or your weekend, whenever it is that you watch this video. Why did I say movie? Because I'm going to go watch a movie. And just enjoy the rest of your day. Please be peaceful, prosperous, and productive.